A coffee bean's long journey from farm to cup typically follows a traditional linear pathway, passing from one actor in the supply chain to the next, with each trying to maximize their own profit, often at the expense of their neighbors in the chain or at the expense of the natural environment. But this traditional linear supply chain model isn't the only way to trade coffee. In this video, we explain a collaborative and transparent, relationship-based approach that strives to create long-term shared value for all participants in the system. The relationship coffee model. No matter how coffee gets to your cup, the process begins with the farmer. The typical coffee farmer is about 55 years old and works a 3-acre plot of ancestral land with the help of his family. After carefully hand-picking their crops, smallholder farmers carry their harvest down steep, mountainous terrain in bags weighing 100 pounds. When this labor becomes too arduous for the aging farmer, he divides his small plot of land among his children. Because coffee prices for farmers have remained low for decades, some of the children will likely leave the farm behind in search of better opportunities. This farmer's story is a common one, shared by an estimated 25 million other smallholder coffee farmers throughout the tropics who rely on coffee farming for their livelihood. In the traditional linear supply chain, the farmer sells his coffee crop to a regional buyer or takes it to a regional mill for processing. The farmer often sells his crop for a mere fraction of what it's worth and is kept in the dark about coffee's true value in the world market. At the port of origin, an exporter moves the coffee into containers, then ships the coffee overseas, mostly to North America and Europe, where an importer receives it and distributes it to various roasters. Retailers such as grocery stores and coffee shops then sell it to the end consumer in the form of packaged coffee or coffee drinks. This traditional coffee supply chain, transactional in nature and lacking transparency, tends to consolidate profit among a handful of large actors at the expense of the world's many smallholder farmers. Without information on consumer preferences, fair pricing, or how to improve quality, farmers are unable to capture a more equitable share of the value from the coffee they grow. While it may work well for a time, a linear system that fails to support farmers leaves itself vulnerable and is ultimately unsustainable. But what happens when you apply a more integrative and collaborative systems approach to the international coffee trade? Leaders of social change often say that in order to change a system, you need to change the relationships of the actors in the system. That's exactly what the relationship coffee model does. The company Sustainable Harvest, a change agent in the coffee importing industry, pioneered this model, prioritizing long-term collaborative relationships, shared value creation, and social, environmental, and economic well-being. This systems approach breaks down barriers between actors, fosters direct relationships between the farmer, the retailer, and everyone in between, and builds enduring human connections based on mutual understanding and trust. Creative use of new technologies, information sharing, farmer training, and creating opportunities for direct market access are integral to the relationship coffee model, as are face-to-face gatherings where meaningful personal relationships can be forged. These relationships, when present throughout the supply chain, make the entire system much more resilient to outside disturbances such as market fluctuations, climate change, pest and disease outbreaks, and even political instability, the types of challenges that are inherent to any complex, dynamic operating environment. In 2012, for example, the system weathered a severe outbreak of coffee rust disease which spread throughout Latin America. Strong existing relationships and open lines of communication enable diverse actors to come together quickly, pool their ideas and resources, and collectively adapt to the crisis. System change often involves not just changing relationships among existing actors, but also engaging completely new partners. The relationship coffee model has attracted bankers, philanthropists, governments, and NGOs, each bringing new resources and ideas. so businesses find they don't have to shoulder the burden alone, but can collaborate, adapt, and innovate to create needed change. For example, a banker who previously viewed coffee farming as too risky an investment now sees that a farmer in Guatemala has a direct relationship and a dependable sales contract with a roaster in Oregon, giving the banker confidence to offer the farmer a loan. With this extra capital, the farmer can now afford to purchase new equipment or replace his aging coffee plants with a more resilient variety. The positive changes brought about through relationship coffee can inspire change in other companies and supply chains, helping to drive a larger shift in society toward intergenerational well-being.